Good evening, Rotarians, Rotaractors, and friends of Rotary. Hello. We are already 18 minutes late. I want to take this opportunity and welcome each and every one of you in your different capacities to this mega joint fellowship of all Thursday clubs in the whole of Uganda, covering District 9213 and 9214. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have here Thursday clubs, and that is for your information, the Rotary Club of Kajansi, Muyenga Tank Hill, Chigo, Ntinda, Metropolitan, Chitante, Natete Kampala, Kampala Ampala, Kampala Sese Islands, Machindio West Kampala, Kampala Mahaba, Najera, Bugolobi, Namagoma, Namgo, Kampala Springs, Nabingo, Kampala Daybreak, Buziga, Kampala Ash, Gaba, and Insanje. These clubs are coming together for join all of us for this wonderful fellowship. I've been reliably informed that tea and water is on the house. Kindly raise up your hand and the waiters will get to you and be able to give you whatever will be needed. Anything that goes outside of the two, we shall gladly do the needful. At this point in time, I would like to hand over the fellowship to the President. I also want to recognize the presence of RC in Sasa, which is also a Thursday club. And seated beautifully on the stand are the Hope Creator presidents of these clubs. President Annie Ninyesiga, over to you.
Thank you so much, JB, our host tonight. Allow me to call this fellowship to order and ask all of you to rise for the Rotary norms. You are all welcome to this mega fellowship for all the Thursday clubs in both districts 9213 and 9214, hosted by the Rotary Club of Bwebajja. We are very honored to have you all, and allow me to call President Francis of RC Buziga to take us through the grace, the loyal toast, President Judith, the four-way test, President Sharon, the object of Rotary, President Daniel, in that order. President Francis.
Okay. Let's have ourselves for the grace. O Lord and giver of all good, we thank thee for our daily food. May the Rotary friends and Rotary ways help us to serve thee all our days.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, the loyal toast. May we toast to the good health of the President of the Republic of Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to recite the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you. Let's stay upstanding.
The object of Rotary? The object of Rotary is to encourage and foster the ideal of service as cases of worthy enterprise, and in particular to encourage and foster, first, the development of acquaintance as an opportunity to serve. Second, high ethical standards in business and professions, the recognition of the worthiness of all, and the of Rotarians' occupations as an opportunity to serve society. Third, the application of the ideal of service in each Rotarian's personal, business, and community life. And fourth, the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through a world fellowship of business and professional persons united in the ideal of service.
Thank you so much, President Daniel. kindly take your seats. Once again, you are all warmly welcome to today's All Thursday Clubs Joint Fellowship. We are very excited to have you all in our midst. Thank you for honoring our invite and joining us in big numbers. The presidents that are leading us in this, kindly prepare to introduce yourselves and introduce the members of your clubs. And we'll start from the far end, far right.
Thank you. Fellow Rotarians, presidents, and guests, my name is Sam Watasa, president of the Rotary Club of Bwebajja, with fellowship on Thursdays, 7 to 8 at City Royal Hotel.
Kindly introduce your members that are in the house, please.
I guess if they are in the house, they can stand up for recognition, otherwise a number of them are still on the way.
Robert Frederick Chisito, HCP, RC Gaba. We fellowship on Thursdays at Green Valley Hotel from 7 to 8. Members present from Gaba, could you stand up? At the moment, Rotarian Fatuma and Rotarian Florence. Thank you for coming.
Good evening, Rotarians. Rotarian Miriam Senkuman Subuga from the Rotary Club of Natete. We fellowship on Thursday from 7 to 8 at Ivy's Hotel along Wakariga Road. I came with members of RS Natete. Could you please stand up?
Including the governor.
Including our governor. Yes, others are still on the way. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Daniel Omara, the president of RSC Nsasa and the charter president of the Rotary Club of Nsasa. You could be asking, yes, please clap if you're clapping. You could be asking where Nsasa is found, but it's a small village located in Uganda, right, to the east in Chira municipality under Chira division, next to Namugongo and Bulindo. And we meet every Thursdays from 7 to 8 p.m. at Hidden Village Resort. If you'd like to come and see what is hidden there, Past District Governor Sewalu will tell you what is hidden there. And I'd like to introduce the members of RC Nsasa who are right behind there. Thank you very much.
No, mine is special. Good evening, Rotarians. My name is Tumusime Francis, the president of the Rotary Club of Buziga. The mighty club. We fellowship every Thursday, 7 to 8 p.m. from our prestigious hotel, Las Vegas, where actually the patron is a honorary member and another honorary member in the building. I don't know whether when I tell the members to stand up, is he allowed to stand as well? May the Buziga members please stand up for recognition. Hey, where is he? Where is he? Plus the honorary member. Thank you very much. We're here to enjoy fellowship, the first of its kind. Since we are District 9213 and 9214, please say hello to your neighbor if you're seeing him for the first time. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. My name is George Lugalambi, President of the Rotary Club of Munyoynyo, Tank Hill. Yes, Tank Hill is over there. Quite a group led by IPP Rita Namachika and the former first husband, Mr. Edward Nangono, is also in the house. I also send you greetings from District Governor nominee, Christine Cheyune-Kawoya. She's unable to be with us today, but she sent her regards. We fellowship this very day from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Hotel International in Munyoynyo. Have a blessed, I wish you fruitful deliberation this evening. Thank you.
Good evening, Rotarians, Rotaractors, and friends. My name is Margaret Naimani. I'm the operator president of the Rotary Club of Chico. We meet every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. at Nusa Hotel in Lueza. Tonight, I'm privileged to be here with a few of my club members. Please stand up for recognition. Thank you so much. I'll not introduce all of them, but we have the Charter President, Dick Regala, and we also have the Magic President, Francis Tumewazi. Thank you.
Good evening once again. My name is Judith Kakuze from the Rotary Club of Nigeria. Rockers, make some noise. They are behind there. Please stand up for recognition. We meet every Thursday, 7 p.m. at Moments Lounge in Chowatile.
Good evening, everyone. Springers in the house, please stand up. That's the iconic club in the District 9213. My name is Sharon Rutega, and those are the members of the club. The rest are joining us online. We meet at Silver Springs Hotel, Bugolobi at 6:30 to 7:30. We'll be glad to see you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is HCP Peter Mwanja. I preside over the Rotary Club of Ntinda Metro. I came with some of my members. Please, if you're around, could you stand up for recognition? We sit at Nobview Hotel in Ntinda every Thursday, and we welcome you all to come and fellowship with us. Thank you.
Good evening, Rotarians. My name is Gift Ann Trifin from the Rotary Club of Kampala Mahaba, a passport club in Africa. A passport club is a club that meets anywhere and it meets online. We can meet physically at any particular place, in any country, and at any time. You are welcome, yes please. You are very welcome to Mahaba. Mahaba means love in Kiswahili. We think Rotary has spread a lot of love in the world. Thank you.
Good evening, friends. My name is Irene Nabayunga. I kindly request all the members of Rotary Club of Kampala Sese Islands to stand up. You're very welcome to this joint fellowship of District 9213 and 9214. Rotary Club of Kampala Sese Islands hosts the DG, District 9213, Edward Kakembo Nsuga. He's not in our midst, but he has sent you a very big delegation, and we are happy to be here with you. Thank you so much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dorothy Achan, Hope Creator President of Kampala Daybreak. I've been accompanied by some members. Please, when you're there, get up, stand up, and we see you. Yes, we have Faith, we have Dorothy, and I also came with a guest who is called Sise, and the rest are joining us online. You're most welcome. We meet every Thursday at 7 a.m. in Fairway Hotel. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Presidents. I think all the presidents here present have introduced themselves. Allow me to recognize two presidents in absentia. One, the president of Chitante, President Sarah, couldn't be here with us, but her members are in the house. Rotarians of Chitante, thank you so much for joining us. And the President, Martin Sendiona, from the Rotary Club of Namugongo, is also here, not here with us, but he's online. Rotarians from Namugongo, kindly rise. Thank you so much. We're happy to have you. And President Anini Nyesiga from the Rotary Club of Bwebajja. I know that the friends from Bwebajja are moving around and about, trying to make sure everyone is comfortable here. So those that are in the room, kindly rise for recognition. Thank you so much. We are happy to have you here, and thank you for hosting this big delegation. Ken, you will be fined. Okay, allow me to go straight to recognition of visiting Hope Creator presidents. And they are all seated in one spot. Kindly rise, Hope Creator presidents. I'll ask the VPOP for District 9214 to introduce the presidents in the House.
Hope Creator President Paul Nsuruga from Rotary Club of Accra City, fellowship from Sundays from 6 to 7. I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Rotarians. Hope Creator President Robert Tomwijuche, Rotary Club of Ntinda, we fellowship from 7 to 8 at Nobview in Ntinda. Thank you.
Good evening, colleagues. President Ersa Mujurzi from Rotary Club of Nkumba. We fellowship every Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. at Keba Express Hotel, just at the flyover, as you are going to Entebbe. When you reach at the flyover, get off the Entebbe Road, you'll find Keba Hotel there. I'm waiting for you tomorrow on Friday. To what? Thank you.
Thank you, President. Good evening. I'm Joyce Odoki Sadori from the Rotary Club of Upper Kololo. We fellowship every Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. at Rosaho. You are welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. Nsubu Ganyenja Akram from the Rotary Club of Kampala Life Stars, Every Life Matters. We fellowship every Wednesday, 7 to 8. Come and enjoy Bulam with us.
Good evening. I'm Dan Chibukachuguli from the Club of Gayaza. We fellowship on Sundays between 5 and 6 at Spartan's Lounge in Nakwero. You're welcome on Sundays. Thank you.
Greetings, President. My name is Robert Walakira, and I am the Hope Creator President at Kasubi. Kasubi meets every Friday, 7 to 8, Georgina Gardens, which is on the other side of the tombs. So I will welcome you all tomorrow at 7. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dorothy Ngalombi, the Charter President of the Rotary Club of Lunguja. Our charter event will take place on April 6th. You're all very welcome. We meet every Friday at 7 p.m. at Rustic Gardens, Lunguja. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Rotarians, Rotaractors, and guests present. My name is Rotarian Barbara Nekesa, the Charter President of the Rotary Club of Entebbe Base. We meet on Tuesdays at Rosemary Courts in Entebbe at 6:30 p.m. You're all welcome. I'd also like to announce that we have our Charter celebrations that will be taking place on the 16th of March. Whoever hasn't gotten a card, please let me know ASAP. And a card only goes for 150,000 shillings. We'll have our celebrations at the Nook Gardens in Chisubi. You're all very welcome. Thank you.
Edward Luyombia, the president of the Rotary Club of Munyoynyo Sunday Sunset. Munyoynyo Sunday Sunset is the oldest Sunday club in Africa, and we sit at Hotel International Munyoynyo every Sunday at 5 p.m. Thank you.
Good evening, friends. Hope Creator President Paul Chigonya from the Rotary Club of Kampala Munyoynyo Breeze, the Cowboy Club. We sit on Fridays at Hotel International, 7 to 8. You are all invited tomorrow. Thank you.
Last but not least, my district governors, district leaders, my Rotarians and friends, also happy to be here with you. My name's Nakato Margaret Nsibira. I'm the 8th president for the English Club of Kisugu Victoria View. We sit every Tuesday at Hotel International from 7 to 8. Thank you.
Thank you, President. The English Club, I hope you have heard. If you want to learn English, go no further than Kisugu Victoria View. Allow me to invite President Peter to introduce or recognize the district officials in the House.
Thank you very much, President. It's my honor, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce and recognize the presence of district officials. We have our district chair for 9213, Ms. Phyllis Kwesiga, Pine Chair. Please allow me to do it in no particular order. We've got Assistant Governor of 9213, Rotarian David Kintu. Past Assistant Governor in District 9214, Ms. Joan Elsie Kantu. Thank you. Qualification Chair, District 9214, Rotarian Alan Asingwire. Charter President Samuel Ngambwaki. There you are. Country Chair, District 9214, Ismail Mukasa. ASO, Andrew Kameraho. Past Assistant Governor Damlira. And we also have our Governor's Assistant, Madame Etho. And Governor's Assistant 9214, Jaden Yawe. There you are. President, we shall introduce and recognize the rest as they come. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The district officials that haven't been recognized, that means you haven't probably registered, and I would like to recognize you and thank you for joining us tonight. Allow me to request President Irene of Kampala Sese Islands to recognize the presence of the governors in the house.
Good evening once again. Dear governors, we are very happy to have you in our midst. Allow me to recognize your presence in no particular order. IPDG Mike Sebalu and your Anne, you're very welcome to join us. DGE Ann Kutu, thank you for joining us. IPDG District 9214, Peace Taremwa, thank you for joining us. My son, PDG Xavier Sentamo, you don't like sitting at the front, but we have spotted you. Thank you for coming. My big brother, PDG Ken Mugisha, you're very welcome. And the youngest of them, not in age, DG Francisco Semwanga. Thank you. Thank you for gracing this fellowship. Members, we are always happy to come together as District 9213 and 9214 to always bring our efforts together. Our slogan this year is, collaboration is the new currency. Iron sharpens iron. Thank you. You're all welcome.
Thank you so much, President Irene, for recognizing governors in the House. We know there are some that are still on their way coming. You know, Thursday journey isn't easy coming this side. PDG Magezi, John Magezi Ndamira, we are happy to have you. Kindly walk up front and take your seat. And PDG Xavier Sentamu, kindly walk up front and take up your seat. Thank you. Thank you so much once again. Production team, I would like you to kindly take us to the DCAs, starting with the DISCON of 9213, then DCA 9214, and the boat regatta, as our guest speaker comes in. Thank you.
Shuba, Keluk Jabula, Hallelujah, Usasani, Uyasupa, Kulungulu, Keli Klipa, Keli Dawa, Keli Mita, Bambelela, Sasu Shincha, Danki Mali, Danki Pito, Kulungulu, Keli Suga, Egun Tembo, Sasu Shuba, Keluk Jabula, Hallelujah, Usasani, Uyasupa, Kulungulu, Keli Klipa, Keli Dawa, Keli Mita, Bambelela, Sasu Shincha, Danki Mali. Mangi, nangale woke para, baya bona, kille para, mudefe, male Prada, Louis V, on some slasha, ukalingane, ukaluma, nene, nana, keneta pinese senza gaso, kumishan pasiba bata samo. Mangi, nangale woke para, baya bona, kille para, mudefe, male Prada, Louis V, on some slasha, ukalingane, ukaluma, nene, nana. Keneta pinese senza gaso, kumishan pasiba bata samo. Aidibo, aiwela, ay, ay suga, aidibo, ay. Aidibo, aiwela.
A vacation like no other. an experience beyond imagination, where celebrating service to community takes center stage. Step into a world of action, of purpose, of making a real difference. Welcome to the vibrant heartbeat of Rotary District 9214,
which comprises of Uganda and the whole of Tanzania.
Let's celebrate a year of creating hope in the world, of dedication, service, and progress. Let's celebrate hope, uniting hearts at the 99th District Conference and Assembly for Rotary District 9214 at the Speak Resort Munyoynyo from the 24th to 27th of April 2024.
Many people think they know Munyoynyo, and so the question was, should we go to Munyoynyo again?
What better place to celebrate our collective achievements than at the prestigious Speak Resort Munyoynyo? With state-of-the-art conference facilities, lakeside serenity, and world-class accommodation, every moment will be a testament to excellence.
You will enjoy the food, the ambience, the lush green. We have the marina, the Viking bar, the horses. We have the swimming pools where you can bask in the sun.
This is a place where you're going to find your future mentors. This is a place where you're going to find your next person who is going to lead you to the next level, because there is a lot of interaction.
There will be extraordinary speakers, transformative learning, exciting theme nights, and unforgettable entertainment. Mark your calendars now. Learn, connect, and be inspired in the company of like-minded people of action.
Njitumie enkuka ya Rotary.
Secure your spot to this unforgettable event by registering today. Registration is now open for only $250 for Rotarians and $150 for Rotaractors. This is no ordinary event. This is a moment in time, a celebration of hope, connections, and a future where every heart beats to the rhythm of positive change. The 99th District Conference and Assembly, 24th to 27th April 2024. Speak Resort Munyoynyo. Hope, uniting hearts.
Friends, family, brothers and sisters, the Rotary Club Kampala Munyoynyo presents the 4th edition Boat Regatta at the Speak Resort Munyoynyo on the 26th of April 2024. The Boat Regatta, ladies and gentlemen, starting at 2 p.m. Tickets go for 50,000 Uganda shillings only, whereas the boat sponsorship shall go for 500,000 Uganda shillings only. Come, let us create hope in this one-of-a-kind 4th edition Boat Regatta. And for any reservation, booking, or information, please contact 0771 262 865 or 0703 111 985.
Thank you very much. Rotarians, once again, I would like to take this opportunity and welcome all of you to this joint fellowship. I'd like us to put our hands together and appreciate the Hope Creator Presidents for putting this together. I bet not just a few of us have been in a fellowship as big as this one, with so many presidents here, but there's only one gong there. I would like to ask that all presidents that are seated on the stand with your beautiful chains, please stand up. And DJ, this is the camera person, this is when no one is interrupting you. These are so many chains here. Let's have this photo. When the cameraman is done, everyone with your iPhones and you are also allowed. And we cannot be hope creators and we are sad. Please be happy. Okay. I think we are good. Thank you very much. Our friends, I would like to invite, in the meantime, the mobilization chairs of both the DCA and the DISCON to come and use exactly 2 minutes to, beef up what has been spoken in the video. to invite us, so many other people to come and join us. We'll start with Jaja Mzungu as we wait for the representative from District 9213.
Thank you so much, JB. As he walks up front, allow me to recognize the presence of Hope Creator President Moses Luswata from the Rotary Club of Nabingo. Kindly rise. Thank you so much. You made it after having a mechanical issue on the road. We're happy to have you.
Fellow Rotarians, I stand on the protocols already observed. Good evening, friends. Wonderful. Can you cheer up? Are you okay? Thank you. I must admit I've been taken unaware because I should have put on my attire for mobilizing the District Conference and Assembly for District 9214. Which has been projected very well, but allow me to add that you will not lose anything by moving from 9213, which is opening up the celebrations for what has happened in the Hope Creator year, and then we celebrate the conference from the 24th to the 27th, where we are going to have 4 days of packed events, friends. We have been telling people to register not only for 9213, but also for 9214. You will not become poorer by attending both, but you will but you will gain much, much more by attending both of them, and it will go on record. So friends, I stand here before you to tell you that we left with only about 15 days, right? Because we are closing the registration on the 15th of March. So less about 40. And after that, we are not going to register again because we want to be accurate, precise, prepare a spectacular conference and assembly for all of you, friends. So I have used my 2 minutes, I think, and I want to meet you there. Your friends, I'm your friends. When I say I'm your friends, I have been in 9213 before, and then now I'm in 9214, right? So just favor me and attend both conferences. I don't want to say only 9214. No, I want to say both. But if you don't have enough money, then you better attend 9214, right? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. In line with Jaja Muzungu, on behalf of Governor Edward Kakembo Nsubuga and all Rotary clubs and Rotaract clubs in District 9213, I would like to invite you all for our district conference. It is the week before the conference for 214. Our registration is at $250 up to the 15th of March. And for Rotaractors, it is at $150. Our accommodation is at $65 per night in Munyoynyo. And we would like to welcome you. We are going to be celebrating all the achievements that our different clubs have made. And district conference will be the helm, will be the epitome of it all. So please come and join us. There is a lot to learn. There is many friends to meet. We have different theme nights: reggae night, Caribbean night, and the Gatsby night, hosted by the Rotary Club of Kampala Sese Islands. That will be the icing on the cake, so please don't miss it.
Thank you very much. Rotarians, we need to clap a little more.
Yes, allow me to invite JB to talk about the TRF dinner for District 9214 as our speaker makes his way up here.
Once again, I would like to remind all of us that tea and every soft drink is on the house. So kindly order and don't pay. I would like now to invite MD Farouk Busura from the Rotary Club of Bwebajja, and also the TRF chair for District 9214 to come and speak about a TRF dinner.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody is in the mood to come and join the Rotary Foundation dinner for D9214 and Rotarians at large. It's going to be a great celebration. We are going to be at Lugogo Cricket Oval on the 30th. It will be the Easter weekend. Everybody will be in the mood to enjoy Easter and have a great moment while we celebrate the Rotary giving. We have a great event organized by Swangs Avenue. We will have VVIP tables of 8, coming to 3.5 million, 8 packs. And we are contributing money towards the Rotary Foundation project for D9214, which is under basic education and literacy. We will also have another tier of 100,000, the VIPs. And don't leave anybody home. Let people come and learn about Rotary. The others will be paying only 50,000. But Rotarians, we recommend that we take up tables at 3.5 million Uganda shillings on the 30th of next month, which is March. You're most welcome. Come one, come all. Let us celebrate. Don't forget that we have a Frigo band. We have Maddox. We will have the Swangs Avenue team. All the musicians under Swangs Avenue. So it will be a very good moment. Misach Semakula. We will have different stages. So it's going to be a fun going evening. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much. Members, we are hosted here by, of course, Speak Resort, but also this is the fellowship venue of the Rotary Club of Kampala Munyoynyo. And I see the Hope Creator President in the house. I would like to invite her to take the stage.
Thank you, MC, and thank you, our moderator tonight, our POP, and Nyesiga. Good evening to you all. You are all very welcome, and we are happy to be with you tonight. And we are also happy that we are invited to this event for the Mega Fellowship for Thursday clubs. Members, Rotary Club Kampala Munyoynyo always fellowships here every Monday from 7 to 8. We are Monday Club, and tonight I'm with the Rotary Club Kampala Munyoynyo members. Could you please stand up, please? I beg for that space. Tonight, the Rotary Club Kampala Munyoynyo had this opportunity to advertise our boat regatta. We have a boat race every year. It's our fundraising event. And this year is our 4th edition. We sponsor a boat, companies, people with your own companies sponsor boat, and we brand it, and then we get our fishermen who takes over that boat and race in numbers. Rotary Club Kampala Munyoynyo so far has sponsored 23 boats, and our presidents of 9214 have also sponsored two boats this year. I thank you, my fellow HCPs. Thank you so much for sponsoring the boat. Everybody is entitled to sponsor boat because this is going to be a very big event that evening. We are hosting on the 26th of April during the DCA. We are having the race here at the docking side of Speak Resort. And it's going to be after lunch, that is from 2 to 4:30. Everybody will be there, and we request everybody that morning to wear your all in white and a straw hat, because it may be a really hot day with the shades, to watch your boat racing. It's going to be really a very fun day. Families are invited to join us, and we marry together. A ticket goes for 50,000 for racing the boat, for watching the race. And then we have the 500,000 as sponsorship for a boat. For those who have your companies, we are really, amid these thousands of people, please come and showcase your companies. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's give them a big round of applause. I would like to recognize and announce the arrival of our guest of honor and our guest speaker today. Hello. I also like to recognize that within us, we also had past District Governor Rosette Nabumba, the Opportunity Governor, and the last Governor of District 9211 with us today. Now that our guest of honor and guest speaker is in the house, allow me invite Rotarian HCP Maggie to kindly introduce our guest speaker over here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our host tonight. As HCP Maggie walks to introduce our keynote speaker today, allow me in a special way to welcome Mr. Odrek Rwabwogo to today's special fellowship. It is a fellowship uniting two districts, both 9213 and 9214. You will get to know about these districts as time goes by. And it's uniting Rotarians within Uganda. That fellowship on a Thursday evening, or morning, or afternoon, or evening. So we are very honored to have you. And Maggie?
Thank you, POP. Thanks, everyone. I'm honored and privileged to introduce our guest speaker tonight. Mr. Odrek Rwabwogo is a creative communication specialist. He is an information, education, and communication IEC strategist and researcher with training in economics, journalism, and politics. He holds a master's degree in journalism studies, that is media and public relations, obtained in 1997 from the University College of Wales, Cardiff, England. He has certificates in advanced financial reporting, investigative reporting, and information processing. He also holds a Bachelor of Arts honors degree in economics and politics from Makerere University, Kampala, obtained in 1993. In terms of experience, he has a combined media and PR experience, 22 years unbroken. He is the director at Tomosi Group with subsidiaries in construction, security, PR, and real estate. In July 2021, he was also appointed chairman of PACEID, which is Presidential Advisory Committee on Export and Investment Development. This was to promote Ugandan external trade and export standards. Mr. Odrek Rwabwogo is married to one wife, and they have 4 children. Please welcome with me our guest speaker, Odrek Rwabwogo. Thank you.
Thank you so much, President Margaret. And now we can have keynote speaker, Mr. Odrek Rwabwogo, speak to us.
So Maggie was speaking about someone who is not me, because I had that introduction and I was just going back in my years. I said, that's not the person here, because he's a very simple farmer who likes business and who cares about some things in our country. And but thank you for reminding me of all the certificates, all those things. So I really don't know the protocol of Rotary, so if I make mistakes, I apologize. I thought this was a small event, and I enter, I see people, look at Joan, I see people who I haven't seen in a long time. I see very many important people, and I don't know who is who. I see people with big badges with small golden pins. So I don't know the ranking, so I apologize. Let me just address you as brothers and sisters. I hope that's okay. And people who come together to do good things. So I am very deeply pleased to be among Rotarians who I always see at a distance, and who somehow over the years I am gratified to know that they do great things for nations, for communities, and they do them without a lot of shouting, without a lot of complaining, but they still get things done. And I also recognize that in a special way, this is a special month for you. So when I was coming, I was checking when you started, 1905, in February, which is now 119 years ago, when your founder, Paul Harris, set the journey of what now you are as an organization today. And so for me, it shows the power of an idea. And even more importantly, it shows the power of quality thinking. So I take thinking seriously because I think thinking is profound. Doing is easy, but thinking for every generation requires people who take thinking as an activity, not some sort of passivity, who create time and think through what they are doing. And therefore, Mr. Harris's idea, which was thought through and has been executed very well, has brought together 1.4 million members worldwide, which means that ideas have no color. Ideas have no shelf life, have no tribe, have no religion. And if they are good, they become infectious. And they become, people find some glue in them that binds people into good action. I also like your four-way test. I was just checking these things on the expressway. I apologize. I got held in traffic to get out of the city center. So I read your four-way test. And I thought at some level, I don't mind a debate on these four things, especially the one about truth. And I thought, what do they mean by truth? Is it abstract? Is it based on facts or circumstances? How do they judge their truth, these Rotarians? Or is it a higher and beyond physical and our material world, something that outlasts us, something that defines our purpose? But I thought I shouldn't engage in that debate because I wasn't sure the people I'm going to meet. I hope one day we can discuss that. So your work in education and health and sanitation and environment is also very commendable and a great contribution to our well-being as a world. So from where I stand, a human person or life is a collection of stories. It's a fabric, it's a tapestry of many stories. These stories we find in our homes, we find in our communities. We tell these stories to ourselves. We pass these stories to the next generation. Why do we do this? Because stories give us context and meaning. And if a community doesn't have stories, or a nation that are kept for every generation, that society will be no more. And so it was. I was just trying to remember, on 10th of Feb this month, some two people found me, or they were in the audience when I spoke at a function of a dear friend. His children were getting married, and I was giving them advice as newlyweds. And these two Rotarians approached me and they said, I need to speak today here. I said, how do you know how I speak or what I speak about? You can't just see someone speak in 10 minutes and make a decision that they should come and speak to your event. And so I just wanted to tell you my own story, because stories for me, I find that they are what we leave behind. They are the ones that inspire. That word inspiration comes from the Greek word that means breathing in. You inhale. So when you inhale good stories, sometimes they help you see the world differently. So my own story begins in the year 1856. 1856. My great-grandfather, who was a fellow, his name was Bwebajja. He had been a member of a small clan, one of those small Ankole clans, and his clan had made its way out of present-day Rushenyi. Rushenyi is where the Honorable Kutana, Kabashara, and others come from. They made their way into the hills of present-day Bwebajja. This is in the 16th century, and they had hardly settled as a clan, and they were attacked by a group of another clan called the Barisa, who originate from Karagwe in northwestern Tanzania. And the Barisa had an alliance with a king called Ndahura of Bunyoro. And the Barisa gave a beautiful lady called Iremera to the king. And they attacked us from the hills of Bwebajja. And we settled down in a place we call today Shema. I don't know if anyone comes from Shema here. And my grandfather specifically lived in a place we call Amahira in Runyachitara. So many homes in one place. And one afternoon, those 10 huts were attacked by another clan. So you need to know this about our country. We have such a young country, raiding for cattle, for women, for all sorts of things. Is 150 years ago. And so they were attacked by another small clan. This clan comes from Rujumbura, the clan of General Mwezi. And they killed everyone. Everyone except two small 10-year-old girl and a 7-year-old boy. And these were this now is my grandfather. So the one I spoke about is my great-grandfather. So they are killed, and these boys, this girl and boy survive. And they make a 10-kilometer trip in the night, and they hide in a home of a Munyoro man. So Munyoro was a very strong kingdom. It had that part of Bwebajja and Shema, some of it as vassal states. So they hid there in the home of an old man, and that old man raises now my grandfather and his sister. I just don't want to bother you with these long stories, but I know that each one of you has a story of that kind. So this old man marries that young girl at 14 and now raises my grandfather. So I have a line of Banyoro relatives in Hoima, in Maogola, from that girl. So you see how our country is connected. Eh? So now, my grandfather now moves to another place we now call Gomba, and he loses everything. And in 1920, he produces my father. And my father just to not bother you again with long stories, is raised alone, and he loses his father before he was 11. He loses his mother before he was 15. He remains alone. And somehow, in 1945, he meets a young lady who had been born out of wedlock, and they make a home together, and they teach themselves how to farm the land, and they become born again, and they say we must dig pit latrine, and they say we must have a balanced diet. They didn't go to school. They learned this in church, writing and reading in church. And by the time I was born, in 1969, our country had 4 clear societies, segments of our society. And if you like history, this should tell you that if you boast that you're powerful or you're rich, I should ask you if your grandfather had a bank account with Grindlay's Bank. Then I'll know that perhaps you're part of our upcoming middle class. So by the time I was born in 1969, Uganda had 4 clusters. First cluster, sons of chiefs and priests. So if you're a son of a chief would collect tax, a chief would administer justice, a chief would imprison you, a chief would decide what happens in that village. I still have grandchildren of relatives of mine. So I have many relatives like Bishop Bamunoba, the late Chikuri in Bushenyi. They had a man who was a chief for 40 years. And his last son, who is surviving, told me that in those 40 years, what he did in his Muruka, he was such a more powerful than a permanent secretary today. And he knew everyone who had a granary, he knew who had brewed alcohol, he knew everything. And this person, he's still alive, who was telling me this, he said that he misses those chiefs. But here's the point I'm trying to make. The chiefs and priests were the first people to produce our leaders. Why? Because they had access to education. If you're a son of a chief or priest, you went to school. And if you went to school, you formed our first public service. So I can just give you an example. The late Milton Obote was son of a chief. He was called Ojail Kome as a title in his community. In Ankole, we know that Ibinjira, who became our first minister for justice, was son of a chief. We also know that a fellow called William Rwabwogo, who founded UPC and first president of UPC and UPU, was the son of the first priest in Ankole who was ordained in 1916. It didn't stop there. Even when you came as a refugee and you came from a princely family, like the late Frank Kalimzo, our first head of public service, our first chancellor of Makerere, his father was called Kanyanduga. There had been princes in Rwanda. So when he came, Buganda accepted him because sons of chiefs and priests. I can go on. William Nadiope, Dr. Majugo. These made education, produced our permanent secretaries, our diplomats, our first ministers in government. And so every parent thought that education and success meant someone being in government, someone being a minister. We still see, the Waganda say, Okaliada, Kadada. We still see the denigration of technical skills in education because that's not very important. What is important is your child becoming a member of parliament or something. So that's cluster 1 when I was born. Cluster 2, an army from societies we call acephalous societies. And a acephalous society is not a centralized kingdom. So the British understood very well that if you recruit soldiers from Bunyoro or Buganda, they will fight you because they are centralized around a king. But if you recruit from societies that don't have attachment to kings, although they had rots, roads like Rotawich, who would be named after Kololo. They knew that these would not be as loyal as people from societies that didn't have kings. So they did it in Burma. They had the Gurkhas. They did it in Malawi. They had the Yaos. And they did it in Uganda. And they told the first army officers that a rifle is your means of social ascent. Meaning if you have a gun, you don't go hungry. You marry when you have a gun. So you know what that means. Huh? That is cluster number 2. Cluster number 3 was a small migrant business community of Afro-Asians. They traded in tobacco, in textiles. They were represented in LEGICO, Legislative Council, from 1921 to 62. But they were so small that they generated resentment. Huh? So I don't know if you know this story. The year is 1963. Idi Amin comes to Kampala Club. He's the highest ranking army officer. He wants to have a cold beer. It's 5 in the evening. Huh? Idi Amin was a Muslim, but he would drink. Huh? And so he marches into Kampala Club and he says, I need a beer. And the waiter is an Indian. He said, you are not allowed here. He said, Uganda is independent. I'm head of the army. He said, no, this is only for white people and people of another category. But Idi Amin had served in the King's African Rifles, so he knew something about being a cook and how you talk to people in the kitchen. So he goes behind, he gets his 2 beers from a friendly waiter, and he sits under a tree, and he takes a close aim at the entrance of the club, and he says, your time will come. And so sometimes when you see things happen, you don't know that they are very personal to people, but they are projected across the nation. I was not surprised when I read this, that Idi Amin would be the one to dream in 1972 that the Indians should go. He had some personal resentment, but he represented, I guess, what was a quiet resentment in the country. The 4th category, I'm sorry I'm taking a long time on this, because when I saw you as professionals, sometimes we're unhinged from our history, and we think we understand our country, but we often don't. And sometimes we need to hear some other voices to let you know that Gachali Mabaga, we need to work hard. So 1969, when I was born, 96% of our country were peasants, and those 3 classes constituted 4%. And so I want you to imagine, what does 96% peasants mean? A peasant goes to the forest, cuts a tree, makes their own bed. They fall sick, they get some shrubs, they make medicine. They are not on the market. That's the society I was born into. And I see friends here who know this, who are my age mates. By 1979, when I was in P4, our economy was negative 4% growth. And I remember going to school, we would wash our shirts using pawpaw leaves. And then you go to school the next day. I remember walking 10 kilometers to school. And when I did P7, 1982, our whole area was at war. Young people were disappearing. And all of us who are old as that remember 1980s. I make it to the university by God's grace. And I thought, now I have 2. But senior 6, I just wanted to go to Makerere. I thought that's the only place you have to go to. If you are 7 in your family and you're the first to get education, then you should really not go to a technical college. Remember? Sons of chiefs and priests, you should really go to Makerere. So I sit exams and I miss Makerere by 1 point. And I refuse to become a teacher. Yet, I think God had imbued in me some teaching skills, but I didn't want to become a teacher, so I sat again. In August, I added a subject, so I make it to Makerere. Hardly had we arrived, there's a strike. And in that strike, I jump over a building in the night. I miss spikes. They're like spikes, a half complete building with a metallic bars sticking out at 11 in the night. I break my back, but somehow survive. And 1992, I just teach myself writing because I didn't know anyone in Kampala. I don't know where. So school closes, everyone goes to their uncle. So I teach myself writing, and I'm writing New Vision articles, and the editor calls me and says, "You like writing, we can pay you for what you do." I said, "You mean like leisure writing? I get paid?" They said, "Yes." And I can go on and on. I'm driving at something, and I hope you take this point home, because the topic is failure is a stepping stone to success. I have just described more than 150 years of failure, but I am here, and I want to tell you why. So I get to do an interview for a scholarship in 1994, and we were 50, 5 of us were chosen, and I get to the University of Wales, and my lecturer who comes to speak to us is a diploma holder. And here I am coming for a master's degree. And I have all this chip on my shoulder. I said, "You can't teach me. You can't, because I come from the great Makerere University." And so she says, "Young man, you have a chip on your shoulder." She takes me to her office on a Saturday afternoon. She's got a small room, 2 employees, but she's got the biggest accounts in that city. And she says, "Young man, I did what I liked to do. I liked to do PR and media. And I did it so well that businesses flocked to me to hire me. And your university called me to teach you guys who are full of theory." So that night I understood that a university degree does not give you a job. Doesn't even make you wealthy. So I took a job as a security guard that night. I raised 500 pounds. I registered a business when I came. And I can go on and on. But I have found out something in all this, that happiness is not a right. Many young people these days think that the world owes them a right to be happy, to be successful, and that if I am not happy, nothing works. So I discovered recently that you have a right to happiness just as much as you have a right to use a road, but a road you contribute. Happiness or success means responsibility. To use a road, you pay tax. If you don't pay tax, sometimes we pay taxes and the roads are not good, but we assume that you've made a contribution on that road. And so what I wanted to share with you today is that there is a bridge between success and failure. And so many of us focus on success, but we approach life in this mindset. And in the morning, I was just trying to find out if I could share this with you. We approach life with these 4 backgrounds. First, we avoid, we don't want to fail. We are fearful of relationships. We don't know how to deal with emotions. We want to severely reduce relationships. And we say to ourselves, I'll be self-sufficient. I will not ask for help. Instead, people should rely on me. I'll be sometimes relentlessly positive, but I'm hiding my vulnerability because I don't want to be hurt again. I meet many young people who deal with life in that way. It's called avoidance. Stay off. I want to succeed. If that's not the case, I also meet the ones who are deprived. It's called deprivation. I was raised by self-centered caregivers or parents. They showed me that, not my parents, I'm just standing in the shoes of those young people. They showed me that my needs really don't matter, and therefore in my old age, I am on my own. If I find something, I deal with it. I can even kill if it will just give me the right feelings. But deep in their hearts, those young people have unworthy feelings. They see flaws in their lives. There is a deeper inner critic who says, I don't fit in unless I become something. So I have found some young people who get married and their wives leave and they say, I blame myself because I'm pathetic. I'm unworthy. After all, my parents did not show me love. It's called deprivation. The third category is what we call overreactivity. A child is abused or threatened when they were young. They grow up knowing the world is dangerous. They have a high emotional threat detection system. And they interpret ambivalent situations or neutral situations as menacing. And they lash out because they think the world owes them something. The fourth category is passive aggressors. Passive aggression is indirect expression of anger. You're angry against your parents, your friends, your siblings. You sidestep communication. You avoid conflict. You don't know how to deal with negative emotions. But you turn this aggression into some subtle power play. You manipulate others so they feel guilty so that they have a sense of affection towards you. I've seen this with young people. My girlfriend, she wants to go on Saturday. Can I give her permission to go? I'm going to give her permission. When it comes to Friday, he turns around and withdraws and makes the girl feel guilty. And then, no, I can't. You can't go and leave me alone. Then you are going to find other people who will take you. They are very insecure. We do all these things even when we are old. These things I'm describing, you may think, what is Rwabwogo telling us? We are old people. But let me tell you, I have found out, like I said, that Okaliada, Kadada, we are working with these insecurities and we transmit them to the next generation. All this because we are driving to succeed. So let me tell you, there's a bridge to success and it's called failure. Failure gives you what I call tender authenticity. Tender authenticity. You really don't care what they say about you or what your friends are building or driving. Doesn't matter, because in failure, you learn humility. You restrain yourselves. You build habits that last forever. And in failing more, you succeed more. In failing more, you understand how to deal with the world around you. In trying to succeed with those insecurities, you're proud, you're arrogant. You think you're the first thing that has ever happened in the world. You're the center of the universe. So let me warn you also, in failure, I found something interesting. You have to keep digging like a philosopher in order to understand the issues of life. In failure, I found something recently. There are people who plant vines, and vines are eaten by an insect or a virus called phylloxera. And they plant these vines in very rocky, clayish soils so that this plant grows up fighting its environment. And they even inject that virus in the shoots, in the stem when it's growing up, so that it can produce few leaves but better wine eventually. Now I have seen people, so when you grow up with very denied environment, you think your model is the best. First, you fight off anything you don't know in your environment. Since you didn't go through what I went through, you cannot be a human being like me. Since you did not suffer what I suffered, me, your father or your mother, you can't tell me anything. Well, conditions change. You should use your suffering to model the right behavior in the family, in the business, and wherever God has placed you. I had a quotation for you, taken from a fellow who I like very much. I wrote it somewhere, and it is from It is from a fellow called Marcus Tullius Cicero. Cicero was one of the Roman senators who was trying to uphold principles of the Roman Republic before it collapsed. And he said, and I quote, "That person, whoever it may be, whose mind is quiet through consistency and self-control, who finds contentment in himself, who neither breaks down in adversity, nor crumbles in fright, nor burns with any thirsty need, nor dissolves into wild and futile excitement, that person is the wise. He's the wise one we are seeking, and that person is happy." Now that's what I wish that many, many young people, old and young, can take. So how do you sustain this bridge of failure that leads you to success? Three things. Three things, and I resume my seat. I hope I'm not taking too long. First, it's called mindset. We think we understand the word mindset, but I use this watch. I don't wear digital watches unless I'm running. This watch has something you turn here, we call it orufungo in Nyachitara, and often the old watches you turn every morning so that you are not static, so that you renew your mindset every morning and make sure that you are learning, that you are persevering, that you are improving. I also found out, for example, that good marriages and relationships are not because two people are great lovers. It is because they have grown, because they adapt, because they adjust, because they change their mindsets, because they allow themselves to be vulnerable to each other, because they restrain their levels of selfishness. It is called mindset. Second one is a relative of mindset. It is called attitude. Small, simple words we throw around every day, but they are very deep when you think about them. Attitude shapes our behavior. It distorts our reality or clarifies it every day. Attitude can lead you to depression. Depression is a state of consciousness that distorts reality. Outside it's shining, but you see rain. You see people walking in the rain because rain is inside you. It is called attitude. To understand attitude, please know that reality has two names. One is called subjective reality, another one is called objective reality. If I drop this microphone, what has happened is Rwabwogo has dropped the microphone, but your interpretation of why I dropped it could be different from mine. So please understand that attitude grows with understanding how we respond, how we interpret what has happened to us, not what has just happened. When we deal with the mindset and we deal with attitude, we enter another larger realm. It's called significance. Success is for you as an individual. Significance is when you carry the lessons packed in you over all these years and you are confronting things you'd otherwise never confront. So I want to tell you, for example, quickly, nobody told me to deal with exports. But I understand that exports is the oxygen of our economy. That carbon dioxide is just consumption and budgets and mandates and jurisdictional fights. But if an economy cannot bring in revenue, we will all just go down poor endlessly. So I said we will make 4 interventions. We are not going to get the markets blindly. We are going to conduct market research. We'll appoint trade representatives. When the market shows us some spike, it demands standards and compliance. Our food safety laws were last done in 1964, but you don't see this in your social media. What's in social media is politics, but you don't understand the chemicals going in your food. You cannot compete when you don't have standards. Even when you create standards, I found that you need the right infrastructure, airports, labs, Things that people don't think about, yet they are the ones that lead us to markets and create jobs for young people. And then I found out that when businesses fall sick, they have nowhere to go. There's no clinic for sick businesses. They go to the president, he sends them to finance, finance sends them back to UDB. It's a circular, and then you hear those who have access are the ones who get this. And then, so I said, we're going to start an export credit fund so that a business that gets orders can supply. My work is not that. My work is that I grew and understood that you must face things you'd otherwise not face, because significance is higher than just success. I hope you understand. And now finally, so you've dealt with mindset, you've dealt with attitude, you've now reached a realm of significance. You're dealing with things. So I talk about exports, but you could be dealing with my neighborhood. Why is it so important that we gather for weddings and funerals, but we don't say, this Kavera, we are gathering to stop it? Or we are gathering to say this road in Kampala cannot be like this, and we're just dashing to our villages. It could be an issue that you are not seeing, but you're focused on your own success. But God blesses those who see what other people pass their eye through. So when you get to the final level, you now enter the realm of leadership. And what's leadership? I have my own description of leadership. It's a process of bringing a new and generally unwelcome reality to an individual, to a society, to a family, to an organization, and help them to adapt successfully. Leadership is not a chair. It's not a title. It is bringing what other people would rather not speak about. Leadership gives you responsibility, and I want to end with this story, and I want to know which leader you would carry when you leave this room today. So the date is 23rd of March, 1993. I had just graduated 2 months prior. I have some people here who, I don't want to mention names, they know who I'm talking about. So someone did a small party for me. He had a party for his own family and then said, Rwabwogo, you can also come, since I know that you won't be able to do this. And then on March 23rd, just 2 months later, a pilot took off from the airport in Moscow. It's flight 593. It's Aeroflot, if you know the Russian airlines. And he's got 75 people on board. Among those 75 is his wife and 2 children. One 16, another one 10. So when the plane takes to 30,000 feet, he switches into the autopilot and opens the cabin and goes to the passenger side and says, children, you want to learn how to fly an aircraft? And so he picks his 2 children. The girl, who is 10, her legs and hands are small. When a plane is in autopilot, a child turns, thinks the plane is turning. And then says, daughter, go off, my son. So the son sits on, and he's got long legs, and accidentally steps on an instrument, and the autopilot is out. And the plane suddenly jacks up, and you can imagine in the cabin what's happening. The spoons, everything is falling on. And then it dips, and then it turns sideways. In the confusion, this pilot doesn't know what to do. Remember, he's leading, he's carrying precious cargo. He took off with the cargo, he has to land. I'm speaking to you if you're a lawyer, if you're a doctor, if you're an engineer. We are carrying precious cargo if we have to lead. And then, so in the confusion, he does not recognize he's got 4 minutes. 4 minutes to correct the mistake. And you know, when you are under stress, he touches every button. He doesn't know what has happened. And he crashes into mountains 1 hour after takeoff. I'm telling this story, it's taken from the black box. The voices are the ones that told us what exactly Captain Yaroslav Kudrinsky, that was his name, happened with 75 passengers. They all perished. On January 15th, 2009 is when Uganda restored its economic growth to 1971 levels. So I'm sure all of you are older than 2009. Captain Chesley Sallenberger, he takes off from LaGuardia Airport in New York. It's 9 a.m. As soon as he takes off, he hits two geese, and both engines go kaput. And he has 155 people on board. And he calls the airport, and he says, my engines are dead, I have to return. Say, but you've just taken off. In New York, LaGuardia plane takes off every minute another one is landing. There is confusion, everyone is busy. They say, let's try and get you a runway to land on. He says, I just have 2 minutes. He says, hold on. So they're trying to find which runway is safe. And he looks at the buildings of New York, and he thinks of the people he's carrying, and he'd been a pilot since 1983, and he says, this is the moment that I trained for all these years. So he turns and looks at the Hudson River, and he says, brace yourself for impact, we're landing. So imagine you're a passenger, we've just taken off. Where are we landing? But he knows what has happened. Leaders know before other people know. And they help people see more. And so he turns the aircraft, he performs landing operations that you perform, that you prepared for more than 20 minutes. He does it under 2 minutes. He lands the aircraft on the water, the rafts come out, passengers come out one by one, the boats come around, take people. Captain Chelsea comes out last, holding his pilot hat and his briefcase, and he has just bleeding on the arm, and he says, I can go home, they are all safe. So I want to ask you, which pilot are you going to be? Which leader are you going to be? So I thank you for listening to me. Uganda needs more Chelseas. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. I can't say anything more. We have to choose to either be the Chelsea or the other captain. And JB, kindly take us through the Q&A.
Thank you very much, President. We'll now permit a few questions. If you have a question, I need some assistance to move the mic. Please raise up your hand where you are, and then we'll be able to get the mic to you to shoot your question. Any questions? Presidents, are you asking questions, or you already know the kind of pilot you are? There's a question there. President, use the mic closer to you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Pastor Motewi Stephen from the Rotary Club of Kampala, Impala. Thank you so much, Mr. Odrek, Chairman. My question is just one. After mindset, attitude, and significancy, how can I maintain a balance and avoid burnout while pursuing success? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that talk. My question is simple. You gave us a big story And my question is, you as a person, at what point do you think that here is failure? Because you may think that's a failure, yet actually for that stage, it's a success. So how do you determine what you're calling a failure?
Thank you very much. My name is Grace Nanyonga Mugisha, past president, Rotary Club of Mukono Central. Thank you so much for that great presentation. I'd like to invite you to Rotary, because in Rotary you join by invitation. And you can choose any club that makes you happy here. We have so many clubs here today, but you can choose a club of your choice. Thank you very much, sir.
That kind of question deserves another round of applause.
Thank you, Chairman Odrek. My name is Robert, and I'm the president of the Rotary Club of Kasubi. Now, I would like to borrow your wisdom, Odrek. Do you think that Idi Amin's decision of kicking out Asians was influenced by the incident that happened at Kampala Club? Or he was actually motivated by the love of his country and the desire to save it from those who are exploiting it? You've just said that good leaders know before the people they lead get to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Odrek, for a very wonderful talk this evening. I had a school, and I know there are educationists in this place. I like the way you started with a mindset for the young children and the youth. When it comes to our education system, what would you advise us as educationists and parents in this generation? What should we do for our children? Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey, for that wonderful talk. Mine is just a point to note. Your last remarks were very wonderful. But there can be a situation when one is a Chelsea, but they don't have the platform to deliver. Do you have any advice you can give to someone who is in that category? You're a Chelsea, you believe you're a Chelsea, but you lack the platform to deliver the people in a safe manner. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Dorothy. Thank you for the awesome presentation. Mine is about mindset. You spoke about mindset change, and you hinted on the youth. How do we deal with the youth today who think the government is responsible for their failures and for their poverty, and they take this on the people they think should support them that are responsible for their failures? Thank you.
Finally, last question.
Thank you, Mr. Odrek. My name is Christine Anyomel from the Rotary Club of Nsasa. I'd want to find out, in terms of success, isn't there also play of maybe luck? You can all be writing articles, but one person somehow, is it luck? Is it God? Is it favor? Is it because you come from a certain place? Isn't there also places of success due to, I know, Gambanogu, something like that?
We have one more question at the back. Just.
Yes. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jacob Mwesegwa, Rotarian Kampala Impala, and my question is in two phases. We understand that the talk about mindset and about youth, but we also need to talk about the mindset of the generation that comes before the youth. It is within our area of expectations that the leaders that are before us need to also put themselves in an area that they can understand the youth, because the youth actually view upon the leaders that we currently have. So what should the generation before the youth or that precedes the youth be able to change their mindsets about? Right now we are going through a digitization scheme, but then the generation that comes before is still skeptical about this. So that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Odrek. I'm Elsa Mjurzi, the president of Rotary Club of Nkumba. Today in Uganda, top-notch schools charge 4 million school fees a term. And everybody in this room is running to take children to those schools, because they associate success to such schools. And I want you to help us water down those expectations, because parents are shouting after they have completed from such schools and they cannot find jobs. They are as ordinary as any other child from any other school. Now, and at the end of the day, they are regretting, why did I pay 4 million a term? How I wish I started a business with that money for my son or daughter. Help us. Does studying from such schools a guarantee for success, or it is a gamble?
Thank you very much. I'd like to appreciate all of you for your questions. Now, friends, if for some reason you didn't understand at first, you've listened to the questions very well, so please be attentive and listen to the answers. Can we finally now invite, with a lot of respect, our guest speaker to come and address these questions? Thank you. So when we need the answers to be nicer, we clap.
If I miss the names, because I was trying to catch every question, so if I miss the names of people who asked, apologies, but at least I got the gist of all. So Pastor Mutebi, how do I maintain balance and not burn out? So first, let's speak about health, because cities have a tendency to stress life, because it's a hustle, it's income, and it's understandable. And Africa will have 500 million people by 2035 in cities, so we can't avoid urbanization. So let's start with health to avoid burnout. So there are 4 things I know in terms of health. First, it's called sleep. And sleep, we don't get enough of it because we're half awake, even when we're in bed, thinking of what to do tomorrow. Sleep allows the extraction of dead cells from our brains. It's called cerebrospinal fluids. So the taka that has died in the day gets out when you sleep. So 6 minimum, the best 8 hours of sleep. to maintain your health. The second thing I know, and so please know that there is a principle, there is practice. There is a precept, there is the real of what everyone gets out of their day in life. So I'm not a doctor prescribing how many hours you should sleep. I'm just working through a basic principle. The second one is nutrition. Nutrition. We all know this, that what we put in our stomachs eventually becomes who we are in many ways. And so therefore, if we pack a lot of carbo, so I like cassava, I like potatoes, I like vegetable things which I grew with my own hands when I was growing up. I reduced, I stopped milk because I drank all the milk I needed between age 1 and 7. And then now I just put a drop because I had become addicted to coffee, 8 cups a day, 8 mugs a day, and I would feel my heart pulping at some stage. So I stopped it, and now went back to tea, and tea, I know that milk and casein, I don't go well with it. So in other words, I'm just trying to tell you, your body is different. Choose what you're eating. Carbo before you go to sleep, there are doctors here who will tell you it's storing a lot of sugar, and many other things I don't want to talk about. The third one is exercise. So when you pass the age 50, actually maybe 40, we should be careful because you are what you are at 50 because of what you packed in your 40s. You are what you are in your 40s because of what you packed in your 30s. Life is amazing. Huh? It doesn't give you what you've not stored in it. Huh? So you can complain about things, but if you don't store up, somehow life comes back, hits you. So these days when I go to the gym, I run so that my heart is clear. I exercise particular muscles because I'm worried about muscle atrophy. I exercise some bones because I'm worried about bone atrophy in my 70s. And so I have to keep lean. So I'm not just in the gym for muscles. I'm in the gym deliberately to exercise particular parts of the body so that I can have some longer life, God willing. Huh? And then finally, number 4 that I know, someone asked this question, I hope that you are listening, and people can contradict me, but these for me are my principles. The 4th one I know is emotional health. To really not let your head really and your heart. Huh? So my parents, every evening, they took their Bible and sat at the front of their little house, and my father would say, Mukyala, nsonyiwa ebyabaddeko olwaleero, bye naayogedde nga bibi nsonyiwa. And then, do we all understand Luganda? He would say that in Runyakitara, of course, not Luganda. Now, his wife would say, Mwami, nsonyiwa, forgive me if I offended you today, because I don't know, at midnight, Jesus might return, and I am a sinner. So let's go to bed when we are clean. That's dealing with emotional health in a particular way. So deal with emotional health. This anger on our streets, these borders, between the home and the office, you're already angry, you're upset about everything. KCCA, boda, Musiru police, Gamba Nogu. By the time you get to the office, so I want to tell you, you are the captain of your own ship. You make your choices. Huh? You can choose to be upset, or you can take it as an experience. Huh? So that's a bit of the balance that I know to avoid burnout. Obviously, there are many ways to balance in terms of how much raw material goes into your decisions. So some people make decisions with scant information because they are lazy, they don't read, they don't consult because they fear relations, because officers have mandates and jurisdiction. I don't want to go and talk to someone because my enemy, and then I make a wrong decision. You need to open up if you have to live a balanced life. The second question was, at what point do you know that you are failing or you're succeeding? So it's the way we interpret what we think is failure when we're going through it. It's the fact that you should see that whatever you're going through has a purpose. It may look dark, but that darkness, not everybody is going through it, and when they hit it at age 70, they will die. If you are hitting it at age 30, then you are learning. So I'm just telling you that you need to maintain a sense of focus and a mind that is open to learning, even when it looks like there's nothing to learn here. It's just trouble. It's just problems. Huh? And then when you turn around and say, but how did I know how to do that? So let me just give you an example. I told you nobody told me to handle exports. So anything to do with exports, I just jump on it. So Americans woke up the other day and said, we are terminating you. We've written to your ministers. There's no answer. We've written to no answer. So, all right, come Jan 1, we will cut you off. So I got on the plane. I had never been in front of a room of men and women, and I thought, I wasn't prepared. These are former diplomats. These are CIA. And they have all these ideas about Africans who are related with some people, and they are coming to. So they asked me questions that were so embarrassing, to the extent that one of the African American head of a certain university, when we stepped out, he said, young man, God bless you. You know how to restrain yourself and answer people who don't know anything about Africa. So they would say, we give you $600 million. Why did you not support us on Ukraine? You torture and kill people, and here you're drenched in blood. You come and sit here, they're trying to make you upset. Huh? And so I told the stories of my country, the bad, the good, and the ugly, because I know their society has the bad, the good, and the ugly. They too have troubles. Huh? And when I stepped back, I said, who taught me to do this? It is the experiences I went through. When I was going through them, I thought, what is there to learn? But they build your capacity to do better tomorrow. I'm just hoping that helps you in terms of determination of success and failure when you're going through failure. I think the third question was an invitation from Nanyonga. Was that the name? Beautiful invitation, nice question. So can you let me think through this? Can you let me? So can you also let me consult my wife, because we make decisions jointly. I am not saying I'm not coming, I'm just asking for time to consult. Because if my wife and I share bank accounts, run the business together, and therefore if I'm going to join a club, and I like Rotary, I have to say they've invited me. So please allow me to cross-check. Huh? Robert from Kasubi, president of Rotary in Kasubi, Idi Amin's decision, was it love of country or personal? So let me tell you what love of country is. It's often making decisions that you would rather not make, but those decisions, when you make them, you know that you can handle consequences. Because there had been, I'm sorry I went through a lot of history, because I thought that you should understand this little fellow speaking to you, not a wise man. He comes to speak to important people. So I started you from 1856, but I was telling you, you are like me. If I tell that story, each one of you has a story beginning that period, if you care to find out. And so I told you how Uganda societies were formed. It wasn't just Uganda. It was Kenya. It was Tanzania. It was Zambia. They were all against Afro-Asians, Arabs who have joined politics and they run our businesses. Who are they? Jomo Kenyatta was the first one to chase Asians. He instead decided to buy their businesses and keep the skill and think through the decision he was going to make. You must have heard Raila Odinga say his first business was a factory disassembled from ginger. It's what gave him the oxygen plant he has in Kenya. He said he thanks Muyindi, who Idi Amin chased. Now he's in business. So I can really hate someone, but I need to think through the net effect on that. Secondly, there are many ways to deal with the situation. Really, because we could have taken some decisions, if I were in Idi Amin's shoes, to bring up Africans, to give them some means and capacity, to give them incentives. I still hear complaints today about foreign investor and local investor. That's a good complaint, but we need to hear ideas on how you stop me from borrowing at 19% to supply an order for China, and China borrows -1% and supplies me plastics. The conversation should be about how do I empower my own community without taking away the little that there is. Because we have paid heavily up to today. When I was in the US in that meeting, one of the issues was safety of private property. Why? You chased people in 1972. Really? 50 years ago? Okaliada, kadada. So it's really, really. So while I understand the feeling that, you know, across Africa, there was a problem with people who did not come by the way. A few were traders, but some came to do some work brought by the British. They became citizens. So is it what the citizen does or their color that builds a country? Can't I find a way to deal with a situation if I have enough raw material to ensure that this does not degenerate into trouble for the country? I hope, my brother Robert, we can have a conversation out of here. I have options. If I were in Idi Amin's shoes, what would have happened? I can tell you. Education system, what should we do? So, you understand, this is a very important question that really requires time. I was yesterday speaking to someone about industrial design. So the British or our education system tells you about the factory, but they don't tell you that there is design, there is a prototype, there is a process before you get to the factory. They tell you carpentry, but they don't tell you what's behind carpentry. They give you a chair, but they don't tell you how to design a machine that designs a chair. The questions that my sister is asking are very critical. If we want to increase manufacturing in the country, if we want to lessen agricultural labor on borders, because what you see is agricultural labor running away because there are no factories, agricultural factories to employ them. There are some strategic decisions we have to make in education, and the private sector has to back some of those. So let me just give you one example. Your country has 41,000 square kilometers of fresh water for fish. It produces 168,000 metric tons of fish. Egypt has only 6,000 square kilometers of water, and they also have Egyptian winter. They make 1 million tons of fish. They make $2 billion a year. We make 130 million a year. So it's when you ask yourself, you think, but what's the issue? The issue partly is the things that I mentioned, the template I went through, attitude, mindset, but it's not enough. You need to add entrepreneurship and thinking about why am I doing what I'm doing in class versus what I earn. And by saying that, I'm answering my brother who spoke last about top schools. We need a conversation of the private sector, because when you know something and you can't put it to practice and you are asking for conditions to be right, you are not a leader. Sometimes you should force those conditions. You can't keep a template of the British of 62 years ago, yet you need manufacturing to stop borders or people selling land to buy a border. You need us to do more fish, because every 1,000 tons of fish creates 200 jobs. But how many of you are in fish? How many of you have fish ponds? I am sure some of us are building galimoleka buildings I am sure some of us are doing things which are quick rental. But the real education, the practical one, the one that grows the country, is understanding your country at a granular level and know, what do I do that gives me these factories I'm looking for? A kilo of tilapia is 12 euros in Europe. I think here it's like a fish is like 12 or 15,000 shillings. If we stand in the middle of that with coffee, with tea, tea is going through trouble, but the Ghanaians drink $500 million worth of tea. I can go on and on, but the point is, for me, education should be rounded, not just classroom, but a conversation between us as private sector, institutions of government, on the nature and type of system we want that will grow our economy. You might be Chelsea Captain Sally is how they call him in short, but you've not been given a position to deliver. Those words, not been given a position, it's very important. Huh? Unfortunately, maybe I'm not the right person to make these remarks because I'm surrounded by an aura of politics and what they hear about Rwabwogo. But I can assure you, I knew nobody in this city. The only person I know was a fellow who brought me a book called Kakumi. It is in S5. At university, I just needed to figure out, and if you ask my friends who are with me at university, they didn't know all this, but it was packed in my heart. If looks can kill, if it looks quacks, then it must be. No, sometimes you don't know who you are dealing with until you really get into contact with them. Nobody teaches you to fix what is your calling, and then other things line up because you've done the best you can. I have found people who do the best they can, even Providence tends to smile on them. They will find a way like water to fix things. So I am not really taking away from the fact that some people have access. That Gambanogu story, I find those Gambanogus insulting to some of us. Our intelligence and our approach to issues is debate issues publicly, deal with situations as they are, face them. But Gambanogu is because you have not built capacity in your villages for jobs, and government is the only one. We are all fighting to get in. And where we have more relatives, there is more people in government. Huh? Am I entering a field that I can't handle, but I speak the truth? I think if I could spend time building an export credit fund and support 13 of our sectors and give people capacity to sell eggs to Congo at 3% interest, and they return that money and they give it to the chicken industry, that is better Gambanogu. That would be better Gambanogu. But we can reject that Gambanogu by starting at our home level. Children, start in your home. The adults we see have been raised or misraised somewhere. So if a home does not restrain you, an institution you work with does not restrain you, you don't have a social club that restrains your behavior. Marriage does not restrain you. What will restrain you when you have an office? Nothing. Therefore, you do Gambanogu because you can get it your way. So, I've gone on this issue, but I'm hoping that you've not been given a position. Let's work hard at creating the necessary conditions for all of us to get better, and those conditions will line up with those who are working hard, and genuinely, they will make it. The youth of today, responsibility, how do we deal with youth of today? The youth of today were babies. The old people of today were youth of yesterday. So if you ask anybody in 1962 or up to 72, they will complain about the minis. So I have a record I found somewhere. An old man, a group of people, some from Kigezi and Barara, in 1973, they came to Idi Amin and they said, "You've done fantastic things for the country. First, you've chased away Munyoynyo, called Indians. 2, you have banned miniskirts. You are really doing a good job. 3, you have banned political parties. No more religion and political parties. Finally, we want to ask you to become life president. Idi Amin did not know about life presidency. It came from us, from our people. The people who did that have long gone, died. I know their children. So sometimes when I see the children, I want to ask, do you know this? But I just keep quiet. So there are always issues for every generation. There are always young people facing issues every generation. But building a collective national ethic that says this is good because it is good, not because it is brought by someone. This is bad because it is bad, not because of who said it. So collective ethic is like if you see someone throwing a water bottle driving a Mercedes-Benz, you would run and park in front of the car and say, pick the bottle. Because this is our collective good that you are destroying. Building that ethic comes from education, comes from stories that often our older people don't want to listen to, that I'm sharing. You don't understand in Buganda that you can speak English through your nose, but at home, oyogero Luganda kumeza obulungi. They are trying to tell you that, yes, out we can connect, but there are things we learn at home. So suppose you extrapolated that across something you call Ugandanness. Because I see a lot of unfinished Uganda because of unfinished parents, unfinished individuals, and then we blame young people. I think that again is another conversation I could take a lot of time on. Christine, is it luck or favor? Or did I answer that? Okay, so some people have favor. Favor, unmerited favor, Christians call it grace. But me, I know that unmerited favor finds you when I was at school at 3 a.m. reading, if you want favor in class, tomorrow in exams. It always found me. So the schools I went to, one was called Mbarara School for Higher Education. I'm the first one to go to a private secondary school. They are washing bed sheets, but we have a small blackboard and we are 5. But I made it to Makerere. I don't need to bother you. That's okay. So I would carry my drink and some basin of water and go and sit in front of a school called Mbarara Secondary School at 10 and come back at 4. And favor arrived at 3 a.m. in mosquitoes, and I passed the exams. So favor comes to those who are really working hard. So don't worry about Gamba Nogu is not favor, that's corruption. So let's not confuse corruption with favor and working hard. Mwesugwa, mindset of the old people needs to change. I think I agree with him. I think I answered it in a way. Let's not blame them when these fingers are looking at us. I think we need to do the right modeling. The word modeling is a powerful thing for young people. So I know you don't talk about religion in Rotary, right? But there are 2 people who model things that I still think are really interesting. One person died recently, Nelson Mandela. I found a picture somewhere that I keep. He's a head of state, and he puts on his shirt. Mandela had very difficult conditions, and difficult conditions are really interesting. They are an inflection point in people's lives. You are more forgiving when you've gone through suffering. Yeah? So he gets on the plane, he's a head of state, he removes his shoes, he asks for a brush. He gets his shoes and he's brushing them on the plane. And everybody runs, comes, no, President, you cannot. He said, I can brush my shoes. It doesn't make me any less of a man or head of state of South Africa. He's modeling to everyone on the plane, stop your legacy, live a light and simple life. The second one is a man who died 2,000 years ago. His name was Jesus. He says, although I am God, I bend down, I wash stinky feet of people who are following me, and I towel them, and I say, look, to serve people, to be a leader, you must serve the worst of your people. It's called modeling. What modeling are we doing in our homes, in our offices? What kind of modeling are we doing in procurement offices there? Every young person now studies procurement and logistics. Why has it become such a big course? Because we know something happens there. Finally, the top-notch schools, I think I answered this. Success does not come. Okay, so if I want my children to go through the things I went through, that's not right. They call that low emotional granularity, that you do not understand the emotions of people. You either know sad, happy. No, having a high emotional granularity means that you are like a painter with a big palette of color. You understand different innuendos and nuances if you have to lead a family or a business. And so education is not so much to do with where you went, although where you went can help. Where you got Budo, Gayaza, great. But I have seen Gayaza and Budo drunkards. I have seen Gayaza and Budo failures. But I have seen people who come from broken families, who went to schools like the ones I went to, extremely successful, extremely measured, extremely compassionate, extremely light on their feet, extremely forgiving, extremely emotionally strong, and they can go through life. Thank you. God bless you.
Wow, thank you so much. At this point in time, allow me to call President George to pass a befitting vote of thanks.
I think it won't hurt to give Mr. Rwabwogo another round of applause. You and I share background in journalism, and you remember that when editors assigned us, a good journalist always came back with a story that pretty much had a headline. But I think listening to you, this is going to be a very difficult one to write. And so I'm not going to bother, at least for now, to craft my headline. I think I'll have to sleep over it. As you said, 8 hours down the road, I'll have a perfect headline for my editor when I get back to the newsroom. Thank you for the really tour over the horizon that you have given us. I think you've pretty much touched on, you've basically schooled us. You've taken us on a journey through psychology, through anthropology, through philosophy, through sociology, and I think, in telling the story of what it takes to really to be successful and to fail, I think you have blended all those disciplines very, very well, and I think you've demonstrated that, the kind of balance, I think, that you would expect a successful individual to be. But I think and I've taken a lot of notes here, and some of the things I remember from what you said, some quotes. Again, if I was going back to my editor, the editor in the newsroom would be asking for quotes, and I've got a couple of them. One of them is that failure gives you tender authenticity. I thought that's really very profound, that failure gives you tender authenticity. And you talked about, how to bridge the bridge between, success and failure. You also talked about that with failure, you learn humility, and I think that's very important. We as presidents here, we share a lot with what you're talking about, because we get into these offices and we are thrown into the deep end, regardless of all the training we go through. The moment you start your journey as a club president, you realize that the dynamics of the club, mean very, very different things. And then you have, sometimes you have to wing it. Sometimes you even have to wing a fellowship. You start it and you have no idea how it will end, but you persevere. So thank you for speaking in a way that a lot of us, I think, as Rotarians, can relate to. I like the discussion you started with about storytelling. But I also wish that you had also indicated, the challenge I think we're having in this country, how to balance, how to accommodate, our different stories, because I think we are a big population. We are fragmented in many different ways. We all have stories, but I think the challenge, whether politically or socially, is how do we accommodate our different stories and be able to craft a Uganda, that we can all believe in. But I think that from what you discussed with us today, you've inspired us. You've inspired us, and I'm really glad that the decision they made to have you speak to us tonight. I think nobody is going to regret the time they spared to be here with us. I'm hoping that, like the call to action by one of the Rotarians, you'll find time to study Rotary, to get to understand it, what it is all about, where we come from, and a lot of the values really that you articulated here, are values that we very much share as Rotarians, and we look forward to one day having you as part of our fraternity, as part of our family, in any club, anywhere in the world, by the way. It doesn't have to be in Uganda. So thank you very much, and God bless you, and wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you once again. I would like to take this opportunity and invite DGE Anna Nkuto from District 9213 to come and extend our token of appreciation.
Our guest speaker, permit me to invite you to come and receive this token of appreciation.
Can we all rise?
So kind, so kind, really. So it's my honor to present this token of appreciation on behalf of all the presidents before you. And I bet my bottom dollar you've never seen so many presidents in the room. And the ones before you, many of them are also presidents. So I think outside the UN, this must be the biggest gathering of presidents. Absolutely. So on behalf of all the Rotary leaders in the room and the whole Rotary fraternity, it is my honor to present to you this token of appreciation. I believe that each and every one this evening has picked from your nuggets of wisdom. I, for example, will forever remember the issue about success and significance, there being a difference, and I believe each and everybody here has picked something that they'll think about. So thank you very much for joining us this evening, and please receive this and remember us for that.
So shall we open it?
Thank you very much. Guest speaker, before you go back, the rest of us can take our seats. I would like to invite all governors in the house to join for a group photo right there. And the presidents kindly stand up, remain standing. We'll have the governors join the guest speaker down here. And the rest of the governors in the house join the guest speaker for a group photo. Are we done? Okay. Thank you very much.
In the meantime, as a keynote speaker walks out, I would like to request President Gift to kindly perform the honors of recognizing the vocational awardee. As our guest of honor walks out after a very wonderful talk this evening, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Kampala Mahaba, I would like to give a vocation award to our awardee this evening. Our award is in the memory of the late Margaret Mungera. If you knew the late Margaret Mungera, please put up your hand. Right. She was very passionate about mental health, if we all know. If Margaret walked into this room today, I wish she was here. I know exactly what question she would have asked Mr. Rwabwogo. And I knew it would have been about Butabika, and she would have said 90 of us are mad. Margaret inducted me into Rotary in 2009. In the Rotary Club of Kampala, of Gaba. I have seen people from Gaba. People from Gaba, please stand up. I've seen people from Gaba. Yes, my Rotary journey started from Gaba. I was a young girl, fresh from university, smaller than this before I became a mother. She mentored me. She was my friend. If I say she was my friend, to the last minute when I was giving birth, she was in the theater. She came to the theater to see me giving birth, and if you know Margaret Mungera, the rest is a story. I would like to invite PDG Xavier. I know you were very good friends with the late Margaret Mungera. At a certain time, their car broke down on the road to Gulu. That's a story for another day. I would like to invite PDG Xavier. And this evening, the Rotary Club of Mahaba is recognizing none other than Father Deogracius Chivi. Please come in front. Each and every one of us has had a quote. You have a quote from Father Chivi. It's about mental health. This year, our RI governor is very, very passionate about mental health. And if you remember his remarks at the beginning of this year, the remarks for the year, they were very wonderful. And also for going extra, we all know priests, what they are supposed to say, but thank you for giving us a talk that fits our generation, that fits the old, that fits the Rotarians, the hard things. I think you can see the standing ovation you're getting, Father Chivi. We appreciate you. And in the memory of the late Margaret Mungerera, for our mental health as a country, would like to recognize you, the Rotary Club of Kampala Mahaba. Mahaba means love in Kiswahili. We would like to appreciate and know that you're doing good. Keep on doing the best you can do. I'd like to hand over to PDG Xavier to say something about Margaret Mungera. I saw Rotarian Richard Were. Rotarian Richard Were, on behalf of the Mungera family. If you're still here, please walk and come in front. I would like you to say something about the late Margaret Mungera. Mahaba will be giving its award in the memory of the late Margaret Mungera. We call it the late Margaret Mungera Award. PDG Xavier, over to you.
Thank you so much. Our president, and thank you for calling me out from there, especially to recognize Father Deogracius Chivi Katerega. And for this particular award that is in honor of my friend, the late Margaret, to those of you who have been around for some time, you remember the famous journey we were taking to Gulu with Margaret. And then we get an accident in Nakasongola. And by the time we got back to Kampala, everyone thought we were probably dead. But we are, thank God that we were out and scratched. Of course, my brother here was panicking because of the sister. But Margaret was so passionate about issues of mental health. And the first whisper I had with the Father Chief is whether he was a mental health patient. So thank you for the inspiration to many people out there. The things you talk about relieve and actually work on many people out there. This is an award, and for Rotarians, it's to recognize people that have contributed to society in the different vocations. And for you to have been singled out by the Love Club, Mahaba, it's because you are doing well. You are doing good, and we appreciate you for your services. So on behalf of this fraternity here, I want to hand over this vocational award to you, Father Chivi, and I hope that that is a token to encourage you to even do more greater things. Congratulations, and keep serving.
You are free to take your seats for 2 minutes. I've been given 2 minutes to say a word. The protocol here is not easy to follow, but I want to recognize all of you in your respective capacities. My name is Father Chivi Deogracias Katerega, and currently I'm the parish priest. A parish priest is a head of a parish. I head PG Catholic Parish since September 2019. It's a blessing to be here. God is good. I got a call first from my friend, the president of the Rotary Club of Chira, Mrs. Lydian Joroba. Then I also got another call from the president of the Rotary Club of Mahaba. And they said they were going to give me an award, and I didn't know for what. Then they told me something about this, but really, I was so happy about that. I was so happy, and I want to thank you. I know there are so many people who motivate this country, Uganda. We have so many inspirations, but to single me out, whoever did that, whatever the group or team, may God bless you. I want to echo the words of Oprah Winfrey. She was also quoting Martin Luther Jr. Martin Luther once said that not everyone can become famous, but everyone can become great, because greatness is determined by service. And I know very well your theme is service above self. And many times when I had a microphone, I echo the words of the Bible in Genesis 1 verse 27, that God created man and woman in his image and likeness. And when God saw the capabilities, the talents that he had put on this zygote, on this human being, in Genesis 1 verse 28, he blesses man and woman. He says, be fruitful and multiply. He says, fill the earth and subdue it. Filling the earth, it was not only meaning producing children. It was meaning extending yourself out there and you live a total life of service. It says, I give you dominion of all creation. And I so much love a statement of a man called Les Brown. He says, live full and die empty. Many times I echo the words of the proprietor of MTK, and now is dead, may he rest in peace, Dr. Chitaka. One time I went into his house and asked me, Father, how many days do you live? I told him, sir, I don't know. And told me, Father, for me, I live one day at a time. And I've been reminding all people in Uganda and everywhere I go that we all have 24 hours, we all have 1,440 minutes, and we all have 86,400 seconds. So the way you use your time, that's what makes you unique. We are here to leave a trail. And I want to thank you for this gift, for this award. I promise every day is a starting point for me. And whenever I receive or get or meet applauses like this one, I'm renewed. I'm given more passion to do what I do. For us as priests, many times the way we preach is different from the way I do, but my mind was changed when I was in Igaba Seminary, when I read about the most successful people on the planet, because I had nothing to do with the failures. And I was able to get from them 50 lessons. I conclude by encouraging you to serve, but I also remind you as Rotarians to take good care of your health because of one thing. Many of you here, you have a lot of dependents. You are everywhere. When you go to America, wealthy people live longer than the poor ones. When you come to Uganda, wealthy people die sooner than the poor ones. I want to encourage you, take good care of your health. We need you. And wherever you are, from your home, from your village, from your church, from your mosque, from your associations, from the groups, go and serve. Serve to the best of your ability. Live fully. Leave a trail. Do a lot that can outlive you. That's the heart of service. Someone said, you must live in a way. Live this life in the way you want to live this life. May God bless you. I wish you a wonderful year. And I pray for more people to motivate our country and receive more awards. Thank you for listening to me. May God bless you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Father Chibi and President Gift for recognizing his inspiration. Allow me to recognize the presence of past district governor who came in a bit delayed. Past district governor Stephen Mwanje. We are happy to have you. Thank you so much for joining us, and the presence of POP, District 9213, Dorothy Cheyune, MD. We are happy to have you here. And at this point in time, I would like to request our DG, Governor Francisco Semwanga, to kindly give us a word. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much, our President of Presidents, District 9214, and also the President of the host club this evening, RC Bwebajja. I know you traveled from your meeting venue in Chitala or Chisubi and you came this side because you wanted to host us in such a good environment, but also a spacious place. So we thank you so much, and all the presidents of the Thursday clubs from District 9213 and 9214, I welcome you to District 9214. We clap for our presidents. I welcome all the governors, all the leaders, both for District 9213 and 9214, all the other Hope Creator presidents, the district and the country officials, and all of you fellow Rotarians, Rotractors, and friends of Rotary. We have really had a very, very wonderful evening in this place. And what a joy to see Rotarians of District 9213 and 9214 coming together, converging in this venue, all in one spirit called service to humanity. We should clap for ourselves. It's unfortunate our guest speaker has had an engagement, but of course, he has given us great words of wisdom and great inspiration. But also what I've learned from his speech about success versus failure and being people of significance, it really resonates with what we do as Rotarians. We come together, we exchange ideas, and we try to solve societal needs. And I think from the discussion we have had today, we can vehemently say that Rotarians, we are people of significance, and we should clap for that. This year is the year of Rotary creating hope, and my message is to say thank you to the Rotarians of District 9213 and 9214 and the rest of the Rotary world for whatever intervention we are doing in our communities. They may be small interventions, but they make a very big difference in people's minds and people's lives. So I always celebrate Rotarians whenever I see you in such big forums and big numbers. We have traveled quite long distances. We have maneuvered the jam. We have left our offices. We are stayed in this hall. It is coming to 9:30, but we are here seated attentively because we want to serve humanity. And that is so humbling. I always continue to pray for you. I pray for your families and for your places of work, that please may the Almighty God continue blessing us as Rotarians such that we can continue to serve humanity. I also want to congratulate my parish priest, Father Deogracius Chivi. He's a parish priest of Mpigi Parish. So, dear Father Chivi, I've taken some photos and I'm going to post on the Mpigi forum, and also to the rest of the parishioners, but in a special way I join the rest of these members to celebrate you and congratulate you, and we thank President Gift and RC Mahaba for recognizing Father Chivi and also remembering our foreign hero, Margaret Mungerera. So this is Rotary for you. It's a wonderful organization, but what I like about Rotary is that it gives us that opportunity on a daily basis to reflect on ourselves, to remember the journeys we have traveled, to know where we have come from, and most importantly, to appreciate God for the providence, and then we share the little we get with the less fortunate peoples of the world. I would like to just say, long live Rotary, long live Rotarians. God bless you, and I wish you all the best as you go back to wherever you came from. Thank you.
Thank you so much, DG Francisco, for welcoming us all here in your district, but also for thanking us for making it here. Allow me at this point in time, as I invite President Farida and President Robert to do the roll call of clubs, in a special way, allow me to just ask our guests from District 9213 to kindly rise for recognition. All of you, 9213. Can we kindly clap for them? Thank you so much. You can kindly take your seats and allow me also to ask the hosts, District 9214, to kindly rise and welcome the guests. Ngate muwera. Thank you. Kindly take your seats. And President Farida and President Robert, kindly do the needful.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today and for honoring our invite. We were blessed with a number of Rotary clubs, and I'll read some, and President Robert will read the others. Our hosts are Bwebajja, Muyenga Tank Hill, Tinda Metropolitan, Chitante, Natete Kampala, Najera, Kampala Springs, Kampala Sese Islands, Makindye West Kampala, Kampala Mahaba, Bukolobi, Namugongo, Nabingo, Kampala Daybreak, Buziga, Kampala Ak, Gaba, Nansana, Seta, Kampala Impala, Makindye, and Chigo.
Thank you very much. I would also like to appreciate the following clubs: RC Kampala, RC Kasubi, Kongero Kuli, Entebbe Base, Kampala Lifestar, Chadondo, RC Namasuba, RC Lungujja, RC Bukoto, RC Apakololo, RC Chiwatule, RC Kampala North, RC Kampala Morning Stars, RC Mbarara, RC Entebbe, RC Kampala Nalia, Rubaga Lake View, Kampala City, Kampala Munyoynyo, RC Buloba, Muyenga Sunset, RC Ibanda, Ntinda Metro, RC Gayaza, RC Mukono, RC Chira, RC Kampala Maisha, RC Kampala Central, RC Ruboa, RC Nkumba, RC Kongerukuli, RC Namugongo Holy Club, RC Mutundwe. RC Gaba was repeated, I don't know why. Then the Rotary clubs present: the Rotary Club of Kampala South, Rotary Club of Kampala, the Rotary Club of KIU, Rotary Club of Chigo, Rotary Club of Mulago, Rotary Club of Lake Victoria, Kaboa, Entebbe Airport, Namugongo, and our host, Rotary Club of Bwebajja. Thank you very much for coming.
And the Rotary Club of Nsasa was also in the house.
Thank you very much. We are getting to the closer of and all the wonderful clubs that have not been mentioned. Thank you for coming. Would like now to, as we draw closer to the closure of this fellowship, allow me invite PDG Stephen Mwanje to step forward, and PDG Mike Kenneth Sebalu to also step forward. And I'll ask the presidents to also stand up. Now, friends, what a coincidence we have here, and a very great blessing. Yesterday, we celebrated the birthday of these twins, and as we draw closer to closing this, I want to invite the president that is giving us the final toast to please go ahead, give us a final toast we'll join together and sing happy birthday and finally cut the cake.
President Sam Watasa.
Thank you, President. May we rise to the final toast. For this wonderful fellowship, I would call it a moot district conference 9213-9214, but that will be a story for another day. And for the wonderful presentation we've had and the knowledge we've imbibed on, join me to commit to Rotary International, Rotary world over. Thank you.
Now, I'm not sure. Oh, there's a president who is not to understand, but said he comes from an English club. Please come and lead us in the beautiful English to sing happy birthday.
Ah, what an honor. You know, PDG, Mike Sevalu, PDG, Stephen Mwanje, the twins, happy birthday. Happy birthday, dear PD. Happy birthday, dear PD. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, dear PD. May you have many, many more. May you have many, many more. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, dear PDG.
Yeah, thank you very much. Where there is celebration, you could also get challenges. I want to bring it to your attention that the President Emeritus of the United Republic of Tanzania, Al-Hajj Al-Hassan Mwinyi, who was the chief runner during the third cancer run that I happen to have presided over as chairman, has gone to be with the Lord. Can we continue with a minute of silence in memory and of his works, but also the support that he extended to Uganda in general and Ugandan Rotary in particular. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
We can proceed and cut cake. We have cake.
President Sharon is leading us
In
through
cake
that.
cutting.
Friends, the fellowship is done, but the cake is not done. We need to eat cake. Let's wait for the cake, and I'll request the governors in the house, Governor Francisco, POP, and the other governors, Ann Kutu, Rossetti Nabumba, Peace Taremwa, to kindly step forward, and we have this cake cut. And the presidents of Thursday clubs.
We are. Hello, hello. We are counting, we are counting. From 10 to 8, 9, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
A celebration to last throughout the years. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We gon' celebrate your party with